stood pretty firm on maintaining tax credits despite an effort in the Senate to change it. Are you going to take that position to not scale back business tax break incentives?
I'm not going to scale back to anything that benefits the state for economic growth and development. You know, I'm glad the speaker's here because he was one of the leading people that architected the Quality Jobs Act. You know, a big reason why we're as competitive as we are is standing right there. You know, the first thing we need to do is do no harm. And, you know, if there's tax credits out there that we're not getting a good return on investment, then I'm more than willing to look at them. But last year, the governor submitted a proposal with 3 weeks left in the session. 2 weeks later, he changed it with another proposal, and his own Department of Economic Development director couldn't give us a list of the return on investment of the tax credits he's wanting to cap. So, you know, you would never do that in the private sector, and we're not going to do it in the Missouri House.
Steve, before the election, you said you would be north of 90. You're obviously quite a bit north of 90. Did you surpass?
I was right.
And what really can you attribute that to, the fact that it was such a large?
Well, you know, I'm going to be honest, I am surprised at the numbers. I mean, we had polling numbers that showed that we could win that many seats, but that's only if we won each and every race. And what I would attribute it to is teamwork. One, candidates, good candidates, number one. Teamwork is number two. What you see in the House Republican campaign committees is we are all in the boat, we all have an oar, and we're all moving in the same direction. And, you know, I had help from Kit Bond, I had help from all the congressional delegation, I had Lieutenant Governor Kinder going all over the state for me, and on the Democratic side, unfortunately for Mike Talboy, Nixon wasn't doing anything, Claire McCaskill was MIA, and their congressional delegation didn't do anything. And so I think that's the important part of teamwork. But I will tell you, probably the #1 factor with our success is our HRCC team. A lot of them are standing here with Rob Nodell and all of our staff, and I'll say it again, we've got the best staff in the state, period.
Steve, 2 years ago, the theme was change. This year, the theme was change again. What do you have to do? Do you have to be successful with all of your issues in order to keep the theme 2 years from now from being changed? Or where's the line where you're safe?
I would agree that the theme on the national level has changed, but on the state level it was changed, but just changed away from Democrats. Keep in mind, not a single Republican incumbent lost. We didn't lose a single targeted seat that was open, and we beat 10 incumbents. And so I think what the voters told us is we want you to do what every family and every business does, and that's when times get tough, tighten your belt, live within your means. And I think that's the spending, taxes, economic development. Those were the things that the voters that I heard across the state, and those are things that we're going to focus on. You'd have to ask him that question. You know, I'm going to treat him no different than I treated him when we had 90 members.
The man standing next to the door was the first Speaker of the House, I believe, since Kenneth Rothman to run for something and win. Do you plan to follow in his footsteps?
You know, I'm going to focus on making sure we move Missouri forward. I'm going to focus on making sure that we do the right thing here in the Missouri House. And I'm not even considering or thinking about anything other than that.
See, let me follow up a little bit on Bob's question. The income tax repeal, is that going to see the light of day on the House floor next year? You
mean elimination of the state income tax?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I think it's a discussion that we need to have. You know, I was speaking to a group at RCGA, and a gentleman by the name of Bill Frist was there. He was speaking at a group, and if any of you know him, he was a Senate Majority Leader, one of the people that many people thought might run for president. I introduced myself. Tennessee is one of the states that do not have a state income tax. And it's very similar to Missouri. They've got 2 metropolitan areas in Nashville and Memphis and a lot of rural area. And I said, you know, we're looking at doing this as well because, you know, the House has passed it a couple times. He said, Steve, I will tell you, you could take all the economic development incentives we have in the state and throw them out the window. No, not having a state income tax is the biggest driver of economic development. And so I'm not saying it's a solution to all our problems, but I think it's a solution that we need to discuss and see what happens.
Is it a commitment of yours to get a House vote on that issue or to get it passed?
You know, my commitment is it's an issue that's going to be referred to committee. If the committee chairman sees fit and they get a majority of votes in the committee, it goes to rules and makes it out of rules, and the floor leader wants to bring it up on the floor, then yes, that's a commitment.
I don't think you mentioned the budget chairman, but is Representative Silvey set to be the budget chairman?
Yes, he is, and I will tell you, we've got a great budget chair, and Ryan Silvey. We've got a great vice chair, and Rick Stream. or extreme will be the chair of fiscal review, and that committee will have newfound powers, much like the one in the Senate. If you guys remember last year, you'll know what I'm saying. We've got a great team, and they're prepared to tackle this issue in a bipartisan way.
Could one of you speak to how you're going to go for smaller government? What types of ideas you're going to pursue in the budget area?
Ryan, do you want to address the question?
Well, I mean, obviously, we're looking at a deficit probably in the neighborhood of $400 to $600 million, and we're going to be looking at ways that we can meet that deficit by shrinking government. I mean, the only way to get there is to make cuts. If you're asking me today, where are those cuts going to come, I can't tell you. That's why we have the process.